That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Live wine so rich, they say it's brought men back from the brink for one last taste. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothes Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts we don't know up from down, still lurking about. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. And they struck hard. These beasts, they don't like company. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. You can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. They say you can't hurt an ankle gator unless it's raining. And it ain't raining. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. Most of those peckers are smart enough to stay out of Queen Anne's way. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. That tall grass is Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. Still no sign of the shard. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping lunkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. They make a tasty snack. Care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? To use a kid as bait. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. The shard's sitting in plain view. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. She's starting to get annoyed. Queen Anne, that was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. That gator's a crazy gal, but so's the gal who promised to look after her. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. Know how Ceylandia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. The Army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Shudders in a fit. The grand rail of Point Lemaine. Not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers, coughing fungus everywhere. Used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rails see much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Ceylandian War. Zolf's forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for me. All the rotten wood there on the rail turned it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While shooting a genuine registered army carbine? While choking on swamp weed? While Pegger's trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. Should have seen him tiptoe around those swamp weeds in his way. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first he thinks it's Zolf. Turns out he's wrong. "This is for you," says the man. Then wham. When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. Well, what's the kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. The arsenal's complete in case we need protection. Sometimes a brusher's pike just ain't enough. That's what the carbine's for. Zolf's messenger was one of his people. Wonder just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zolf told him. Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zolf. That's the way to make every shot count. Even the army never issued carbines in such fine shape. The shards are getting harder to find. Caelandia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelandian army carbine. Sometimes you had to steadier shot. The triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the triggers spiced things up a bit. The kit ain't bad, but the triggers were better. If you want to master the art of the firearm, then the place to go is Trigger Hill. Sometimes you had to shoot from the hip. You had to keep moving to avoid getting burned. Kid blows through that course like it was nothing. The Ceylandian army would have recruited him in a flash. The Triggers, my brothers, the bravest men I ever knew. It's no longer a weapon, it's a precision instrument. To prepare for the wilds, Ceylandia's brushers practice at Camp Donce. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Donce. They said they made you weak. Sometimes the course was brutal. Said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pike. The brushers were Ceylandia's field agents, and their training was harsh. You had to find a path through the maze as quick as you could. For the course, the brushers could modify their pikes however they wanted. squash every pincushion, just the ones in the way. If you did alright at Camp Bouncy, you got to go to the wilds. Once you started the course, they made you finish. You can see why the brushers prize those pikes of theirs. You have to think fast to survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire can be its own challenge. Well, even the slingers weren't quick enough to escape the calamity. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. Cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. sure we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. Taste the air so hot it sticks to your lungs. Sorts of awful things crawling. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. Kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. We swept aside, the more life we found. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. Down inside Culford Cauldron. Look down through all the smoke and flames. We saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Well, it ain't polite to stare. Where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. Kid don't shed any tears for me. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city, but all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. The memorial may be finished, but our part is far from over. The valediction, just another one of my sketches, nothing more. They said the wild could never be tamed, if only they could see us now. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. When you've got a solid balance, you've got what you need. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zand. Can't rightly call Mount Zand a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. But they ain't yet prepared for any company. for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. This way, it's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's game, not just ours. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. Fix that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. Down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl. But she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Zealandia. Her folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birth and complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Her father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts. Learn more through music than history books. Gain a knack for strings and songs. At first, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. The young man convinced her to take him to her family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals. They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal. Succeeded, but the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. The young man had sent the authorities a tip, told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tassel terminals. She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Returned to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. She did as she was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand. The next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. calamity found him. The conscience. We haven't lost everything, long as we have that. Any brusher's pike can cut to the bone, but that one can cut through it. Its riches, nothing but fragments now. Nothing makes a gun so dangerous as a keen eye. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Zealandia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes Burstone Quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, Rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. But there was even more to it than that. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Without those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Windbags tended to the rocks, so we had to keep the Rattletails at bay. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told them the quarry's bad news. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. ones you know as cores. Single core could keep the lights on in an entire city district. The smaller ones, we call them shards. The shard's got a fraction of a core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to Colin, Sir Lunky. Massive things stomp many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. We never could get stubborn old Lunky to leave the quarry alone. The only thing harder than the rocks immersed in the quarry is Sir Lunky's head. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. "I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." Say what you will about Zulf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. Let me go. Zulf showed him the way here, and here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. I should have told him sooner about all this. To make matters worse, seems the Ura took the girl. Unfortunately, they broke in and they started digging their hole. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away at this place. We tried to stop it, but we needed help. Our baby pecker, he don't make it. Somehow, some way, he sends those Ura packing. The problem is, It didn't matter. Zolf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the Ura came. To get us back. For the calamity. It was Ceylandia's master plan to wipe the Ura out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zolf knew the whole story, what were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started. Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. Now all we need is one last shard. The sanctuary. If we can build, we can rebuild. The mercy. The windbags ain't the only beast that drew a bad lot. The Ura swooped down from the east. At least now we know the way. One last shard. It's all we need to put this mess behind us. And mother, what a mess it is. A mess like that could have only been made by hand. Zolf said the calamity failed, and he's right. The Ura stand is living proof of that. To go to war again. Wanted to rule it out. We put a lot of folks against that problem. Scientists, soldiers, spies, even me. We sought solutions far beyond the city. Traveled near as far as the kids going right now. scientist named Ven. Ven worked for the Mancers, the sharpest knives in the city's drawer. With his help, the Mancers devised a way to seal the Ura tunnel shut in a flash. Just like that, every last Ura living in the Tassel terminals will be gone. This discovery was never to be used, they said, except as a last resort. Ven didn't like being manipulated. He had plans of his own. He sabotaged the Mancer's little science project. Set it to blow up in their faces. Imagine how Ven must have felt when they finally made him pull that trigger. But remember, the Bastion can fix everything. We just need that shard. Too bad the Ura ain't exactly been willing to collaborate on that front. For now, Kid had little choice but to pick up where the Calamity left off. First things first, though. There's someone we figured needed rescuing. See ya. The Ura fell back, no doubt planning the next move, but we knew ours already. If you're feeling low, count on the buttery flavor of our own Bastion bourbon. Careful touch to rattle those bones like that. You don't want to know what he did to that thing, but believe me, it works. There's something we had to do before going after that last shard. Well, now it's personal, ain't it? It's personal for him, and it's personal for me. They never saw him coming. He gets his hands on the care package I sent him. It's a little something I've been fixing up in my spare time. own security and everything. Pretty fancy even. Still, they ain't used to having visitors around. They've got these conductors that are all what's keeping the place together. Break enough of those things and the calamity rocks slink back into the ground. Rocks are like tumors, the same kind the Ura planted in the Bastion. Well, the Ura must be in a panic right about now. Kid's done using the Calamity's power for now, but the Ura ain't finished. They even sick their little rattletail pets on the kid. Those rodents are just a bump in the road. Terminals must know he's in town. Kid returns their greeting tenfold. Most of the Ura's conductors are squared away in the middle of the hollow. They're easy targets. Those calamity rocks must be eating that place apart from the inside. Keep hanging on to their barricade. After all, their homeland's not much farther. Maybe they know they've lost this. Lost to a kid. They underestimated us. Had us pegged all wrong. Yes, our people caused the calamity, but here we are trying to fix it. Shame the opportunity for civilized discourse is over. It's not the time to get reckless. Did the Ura really think we just turn around and walk away? Some of them are downright bewildered by what's happening. Suppose old Zolf should have got to know us better. Maybe I should have trusted him, told him everything I knew. Desperate, the Ura bring out their big guns. He sees the Tazzle terminals loom large on the horizon. There's nothing standing in his way no more. Zolf, the Ura, they have every reason to be angry. Beyond angry. But when this is all over, it'll all be water under the bridge. Way out there on the edge of the world, that's where he finally finds you. But it ain't like Prosper Bluff this time. Ain't nothing for this gal to sing about now. Zia, you weren't kidnapped. No, ma'am. You just had to see what happened to the Ura. To your own people. You had to see if everything Zolf wrote to you was true. Sure you didn't drop that twangy thing on purpose, just to see if he'd go after you? They lost everything, didn't they? But they just keep on fighting like that's gonna bring it all back. I don't need to see what happened to the Ura. I'm trying to undo it, remember? The country, she's all to pieces now, but still looking good. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. The inspiration, a forge can fashion anything. Once the kid gets that last shard from Zolf, it'll all be over. I can't hear him at all anymore. He's too far away. But he'll be all right. The calamity hit the Tazzle terminals hardest of all. You know why Zolf went back there. The place was his home. friends and family were there. Taken by the calamity. Zolf must be there all alone, just waiting. You know what's funny? All we can do is sit and talk. All of us are waiting for a kid. There's not much left to do here in the Bastion, I'm afraid. So why not tell each other stories to pass the time, right? There's another reason I've been telling you all this. There's something I want you to understand. When the kid brings back that shard, the Bastion will be complete. Zealandia will be whole again. Everything will be back to normal. Everyone will be all right. Problem is, we'll all be gone. Oh, we're not gonna die. It's more like all of this will just stop. Things will go back to the way they used to be. That's the power of the Bastion. This whole place is a living record of the times before the calamity, the way things were before this story. Good times, right? You be your old self again. Think of all those times that didn't go your way. guess there's nothing more to say. Who am I kidding? Look. There's something else. A confession. You follow me? How come I know so much about the Bastion? One problem with a place that sets things back to a bygone time. You can't test it. So you're probably wondering if the calamity happened already. What's to stop it from happening again after the Bastion does its thing? The answer is I don't know. You're wondering if there ain't some other way out of this mess. It's alright. I can tell. But why would you even want another way? Unless you wanted to stay here with us. Well, that's sweet and all, but I don't know if I can stick around. The weight of the calamity, it's on our shoulders. We can't just let it go. Bastion does have another function, strictly speaking. If ever the monument blew out, and we couldn't repair it, we could still evacuate. First, we'd round up as many folks as we could carry. Next, we'd detonate the cores, and we'd take off away from here. Of course, that would mean no going back. Ever. But then again, that way all of us could leave the city together. You know Zolf and his countrymen won't be giving up that shard without a fight, don't you? All they want now is to see the Bastion fall. dedicated his life to lasting peace between the Ura and Celandia. He can't have imagined the city would try to wipe the Ura out. Zolf ain't lost every shred of decency though, has he? He tried to warn you about his plans. He tried to warn the kid. This ain't a personal matter. Kid followed Zolf all the way home. I can see it now. The kid in one corner, then Zolf in the other. Ain't much of a fight. Don't you worry though. Once the Bastion's restored, it'll all be all right. You ain't still thinking about that whole leaving the city thing, are you?
I set my sail. Take me back to my home, sweet home. Lie on my back, clouds are making way for me. I'm coming home, sweet home. I see your star, you left it burning for me. Mother, I'm here. Eyes open wide.
Kid's probably dealt with Zolf by now.
Heart and it's glowing.
It reminds me of myself when I was his age. I ever tell you about those days? Hey, kid. Get up, kid. Come on, that ain't funny. to the monument there. Then we'll talk. Can't believe you brought him back again. Bet you had to do more than say please this time. First things first, kid. The Bastion's waiting. The Bastion. It's finally finished. Now, there's something I want you to see. Welcome to the heart of the Bastion. I ain't one for long goodbyes, so here's the deal. Zia and I figure you done the heavy lifting, so you get to do the honors. We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions. Hey, kid. You can undo the calamity here and now. Go on, kid. And before I forget, thank you.
You made it. If I could be any place I wanted, I'd stay right here. We could go anywhere in the world. Any moment I'd want to live again happened after the calamity, not before. So, let's see. You can either prevent the calamity or stick around with me and Rex. I'd hate to be in your shoes. Zulf tried to talk me into joining him. I tried to talk him out of it. I guess we both failed. When I finally found my people, I told them we could help. They just took me for a traitor. Glad you showed up.
It's finished. Now, sit tight. It'll be over soon. No matter what happens next, you're done good. I suppose all that's left is to try and remember this moment. The Bastion's gonna take us back to a better time. Before any of this. Maybe we'll forget everything you've done. And each other. Though after all we've been through, I find that hard to believe. So long, kid. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Zealandia, we're coming home.